Hi everyone, welcome back to Easy Cooking with Linda B. Here it's pretty chilly in Connecticut. I'm wearing my sweater, the leaves are falling off of the trees outside, and I think it's a perfect time to make soup. Today I will be making for you an easy but hearty vegetable soup with beef. And I'm going to show you how I put it all together. So what you will need for this recipe is I'm going to work with beef chuck. I've cut it very small, in very small bite-sized pieces. Now this is the easy part. We're going to do frozen vegetables. I have peas and carrots in here. And this I thought was interesting. This is an oriental blend of vegetables. It has green beans, broccolis, onions, and mushrooms. We love mushrooms. If you don't like them, just leave them right out. In this bowl here, I have onion and celery. I also have 1 can of diced potatoes, and I'm going to use maybe a whole can, I'm not sure yet, of fire roasted diced tomatoes. These are very good. And I'm going to use a low sodium beef broth. I have an extra can in case I want more. And I'm also going to use this better than bouillon. These things are amazing. This is Italian herb. It has garlic and it has Italian herbs and oil. It's made with olive oil. And then of course seasoning, I'm just going to put salt and pepper in it. And now I'm going to show you how I put it all together. Okay, I'm going to start out by warming up my Dutch oven here. I'm putting it on like a medium low, and I'm going to now add a little bit of oil. I don't want a lot. Maybe I'm going to put about 1.5 tablespoons in there. So I'm going to wait for it to heat up just a little bit. It shouldn't take too long. And then I'm going to put a little bit of seasoning, salt and pepper, in my chuck meat. I'll do it right here at this point while that's heating up. And I'm going to get in here, I'm going to mix it up. I always wear gloves whenever I'm handling meat because I don't want to cross-contaminate anything. Okay, so now I'm going to dump this in the bowl, or a pot, I should say. Get that heated up. Spread this around. So what I want to do at this point is I want to cook my chuck steak for a while until it gets like dark on both sides, browned on both sides. But I'm not using flour in this application because I do not want a thick soup. I'm not making a stew. I want a soup. Okay, very good. So once it gets heated up a little bit more and cooking, I'll come right back to you and show you what I do next. Okay, now the chuck steak has been cooking for about 5 minutes. I did have to turn the heat up to get it going, but now it's cooking nicely. So what I want to do at this point, and I'm trying to decide way I want to go. See, whenever you make a soup, there's no science to it. Just wing it. I mean, you could do whatever you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 1 teaspoon of this beautiful Italian herb bouillon and put in here. And then I'm going to stir that around, mix it with the meat. I want to get as much flavor in this soup as possible. Okay, then I'm also going to I'm going to increase my heat a little bit, and I'll show you why. Now what I want to do is add my celery and my carrots. And I really want to get them cooking. Now when you're using chuck steak, because of the type of meat, which is it's a fibrous meat, it takes time to cook. You do have to cook it for a long time. So this is where it's a good point for me to add my onions and celery. And one thing I forgot to mention in the opening of my video is that I'm also going to use tomato paste. Now, tomato paste is going to give it that rich tomato taste along with a fire roasted tomato. So I'm probably putting about I don't know, that looks like 2 teaspoons I may have added. And then I'm going to mix that in. Stir that up well. And then what I will do at this point is I'm going to cover my pot and I'm going to let it cook probably for about 10 more minutes in order for the onions and the celery to soften. Then I'll add the potatoes. Okay, so the vegetables have been cooking for about 10 minutes, and now what I'm going to do is I want to add my potatoes. Got them all out. And then I'm going to add some of my fire roasted tomatoes. Again, I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need until it all starts coming together. And then I'm going to add my beef broth, because now at this point I really want to cook down not only the vegetables but that meat. I need the meat to become tender, and the tomatoes and the paste will also help break it down because of the acid in them. And one thing I did decide last minute is I want to add some thyme. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that in. Increase my heat, because once I turn or add the broth in, the heat reduces to nothing. So now I'm going to put it up high. I'm going to get it boiling. I'm not going to add my frozen vegetables quite yet. I will add them more towards the end. At this point, I'm going to let my soup cook for about 20 minutes. Bring it to that boil, turn it down to a simmer, and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, now the soup has been cooking for 20 minutes, and now actually probably even a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste it, because I want to make sure I have the seasonings just right. Look at that, it looks gorgeous. Okay, this soup is great. It's a little salty because of the bouillon, but not over the top. For me, it's great. I love it when it's like this, but I'm going to add a couple more things. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to add a little more pepper. And then I want a little more richness from the tomato, so I'm going to put in a little more of my tomato paste, about another 2 teaspoons right there. Give that a stir, mix everything in well. And now what I will do is I'm going to add in my frozen vegetables. Ooh, that got me then. Don't do what I just did, because I don't want to cook them too long, and I want them to be mushy. I want to have a little bit of a bite to them. Give this a stir. Cover it up, and I would say let it go for about 10 more minutes, and then the soup will be done. Okay, now the soup has been simmering for about 10 more minutes, and the frozen vegetables are now completely thawed. One thing I want to do, and this is optional, you don't have to, I'm going to add a little bit of Tabasco sauce, because Bob and I both like a little bit of heat. You may omit it if you don't want to use it. That's perfectly fine. Make it your soup. Just stir that in. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spoon some into my bowl. You could see there the beef, the tomato, all the vegetables. Like that. The broccoli, the carrots, the celery, the tomatoes. Oh, there's so much in here. This is just so beautifully hearty. And there it is. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to this. I love cheese in my soup. And now time for the taste test. Oh my goodness, that is so good. See, here's the beef. The beef is all tender. See how it just breaks apart? I have my roll. Butter that up. I don't know about you. If you're like me, I love to dip my bread right into my soup. Excellent. Really, really good. A little bit of the heat at the end, which I love. Not that bad. Perfect. I want to thank you very much for watching my video. I know I've made mistakes along the way during this one, but it's been a very difficult week for me. On Sunday, October 8th, I lost my second oldest brother, John. He was 80 years old. He was a super human being. He really was. He was somebody really, really special. And my brother Bob and I are going to miss him dearly. And we also lost our brother Bill back in 2015. And that, I have to say, it just all breaks my heart. So thank you for watching and bearing with me and my silly little mistakes along the way. I said carrots when I meant to say celery and onions. So thank you. Anyway, once again, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and remember, enjoy life and never stop learning. Bye now.